Hello, everybody, and welcome to Afro EPL. It's the international break and a very crucial international break, especially for our Cameroonian, our Nigerian, and our DR Congo players playing in the EPL because they are back home. In fact, they're in Morocco preparing for one of the most important playoff games they will ever have to play, qualifying for the World Cup next year summer. And it is going to be a crucial couple of weeks for these teams because the format, first of all, is a little bit complicated, which we're going to go through. We are going to do like a preview of these players. We're going to look exactly what their chances are getting into the intercontinental playoffs. This is going to be the first time in a very long while that the CAF teams are going to participate, or the CAF team for the playoffs will be participating in the international playoffs. Now, how does that work? So, tomorrow we have the semi-finals, which is going to be between Cameroon and DR Congo for the first semi-final, and then we have Nigeria against Gabon. After that, the winners of those two games will play a final on the 16th, so over the weekend. And then the winner of the final will qualify to play the intercontinental playoffs, which has been dubbed the FIFA World Cup 2026 playoff tournament, which will run in March, so between the 23rd and the 31st of March. Now, the structure of that competition is quite complicated, and I'm going to break that down in this video so we understand exactly from all those players who are playing the playoffs from CAF, what are their chances of not only qualifying for the intercontinental competition, but also looking at what will be their chances on playing in qualifying for the World Cup, because there will be 6 teams in the intercontinental competition, and from those 6 teams, 2 will be able to qualify for the World Cup. So the countries that are playing these semi-finals tomorrow have a really big chance to qualify. Now we're going to look at who is going to be part of that conversation, who is going to be part of that competition in March, and we will look at the possibility of their qualification. But today, let's first of all break down the semi-finals and see exactly what are the highlights of these 2 semi-finals for tomorrow. Then we will do some predictions, and of course, before all of that, let's understand the structure. So the first thing is there will be 2 teams to qualify from CONCACAF, which is the North Central America and Caribbean Confederation. 1 team will qualify from the Asian Football Confederation. 1 team will qualify from here, from CAF, so the winner will qualify for the Intercontinentals. And then there will be 1 team from the South American Confederation Cup. In fact, Bolivia has already qualified for the Intercontinental competition. So we have Bolivia, who have already qualified from CONMEBOL. We have the Oceanic representatives, who will be New Caledonia. So we already have 2 of the 6 teams that will qualify for the Intercontinental. Right. Now, so the 6 teams will be broken down into 2 groups. Within those 2 groups, it's a little bit, let's get this right. So they will be broken down into 2 groups. Depending on the seeding of the 6 teams, the highest ranked 2 teams will be seeded in the 2 groups, Group 1 and Group 2. So when these groups will be seeded between Group 1 and Group 2, the rest of the 4 teams will be unseeded. So there will just be 1, 2, 3, 4, or in this case, we'll say A, B, C, D. Now, between A, B, C, D, they will play a semi-finals in both groups. So A, in this case, will play B in the semi-finals, and then C will play against Team D. Now, the winner of those semi-finals will play the seeded team in their group. So in Group 1, seeded number 1 team will play the winner of the semi-finals between Team A and Team B from the unseeded semi-finals. And then in Group 2, the seeded team, which was the second highest ranking FIFA team, will play the unseeded Team C versus Team D, so the winner of that semi-finals. It sounds complicated, but it's as simple as that, if that makes any sense. So at the end of the day, of those 6 teams, 2 teams will win a ticket for the World Cup. So good luck to Cameroon, good luck to DR Congo, Nigeria, and Gabon, who are starting that journey tomorrow. Now let's come back to our CAF playoffs and see exactly our semi-finals and how our teams are ranking and look at their chances of winning. Now the first semi-finals is Nigeria, who are ranked 41st, versus Gabon, who are ranked 77th. Now this game will be played at the the Prince Mullah El Hassan Stadium, and these two teams, Nigeria against Gabon, have played each other 6 times. Nigeria has won 3, they have drawn 1, and Gabon has won 1. Now let's focus on Nigeria, and within that we will be able to look at who is going to be involved from our English Premier League. Let's look at some of the standout points. Now, Nigerian coach is Eric Shell. He has managed the team for 9 games. He has won 6 of his 9 games and drawn 3. There was a lot of turmoil in the Nigerian ranks for the African nations. First, the AFCON qualifiers and the start of the World Cup qualifiers. There was so much instability. They had one coach, they had Finidi, they had Augustin Aguavon, and then I think there was a decision for Eric Shell to come in. He has really stabled the ship, so he has done a really good work just to stable Nigeria, and he has to have a lot of credit. The one thing that you cannot underestimate for Nigeria is the Osimhen effect. Now, Osimhen has been the one player that his presence has been directly proportional to the victories of Nigeria during all their World Cup qualifiers. So when he has not been there, Nigeria has not been able to win. When he has been there, Nigeria has smashed teams. Nigeria with Osimhen versus Nigeria without Osimhen is chalk and cheese. I think it is very important for us to, first of all, just respect the Osimhen effect for the Nigerian national team. As we speak, there are so many problems within the ranks in Nigeria. Players have refused to train because of some unpaid money, of some bonuses that have not been paid. It is a disaster to imagine that at the eve of a playoffs where your chances to qualify for the World Cup are at stake. The federation, the Nigerian Federation for the football, is getting in this pickle where players have to even be so unstable and so destabilized that they don't even have their money and they are not training. It is a disgrace for a nation like Nigeria to find themselves in that situation. If those players are boycotting, know that they have been pushed to the wall, and it is just unfathomable to imagine that a country like Nigeria, on the eve of a playoff of this magnitude, will be finding themselves in this situation. Now, looking at heritage, Nigeria has all the chances to win this thing all the way through, but the disorganization and the chaos at the background from federation just shows exactly how it will hamper and stands to hamper a team. You can pull a very striking contrast to their opponents, Gabon. Gabon have turned up and are lodged in a 5-star hotel. The organization is smooth, so the players are in a better state of mind to play this game. Nigerians are not training. There is a video of Iwobi showing the environment they are staying in Morocco, and you think to yourself, how on earth does a country, a great nation like Nigeria, find themselves in a situation where their team is lodging in a place like that? I cannot get my head around it. I just cannot get my head around it. Anyway, that is the disorder that Nigeria is starting these qualifiers, these playoffs with, and it's despicable. It's shocking. I am ashamed when you see things like that. Let's come back to the game. Let's just come back to the game, because the more I talk about that, the more it just depresses me. So let's look at Nigeria. So we have the likes of Iwobi from Fulham, Sam Chukwueze in Fulham, Bassey in Fulham. So Fulham is like a bedrock for Nigerian players in the UK. So those players will be trying to prepare themselves right now for the upcoming game. Then we have in Brentford, we have Frank Onyeka, who is also was very influential in them qualifying for this stage. So we also have Tolu Agondare from Wolves, who is part of the team. For my predictions, if Nigeria can play their best players in the best position, they have all the chance to win. If they go and experiment trying to play two up front and a flat four midfield like what they did in the qualifiers to try to play Osimhen and Tolu up at front, and then playing players, then you don't know what to do with players like Lookman. I mean, Nigeria is going to struggle against Gabon. The Nigerian defense is their strength, is very strong, but the Gabonese attack, I'll come to them. They have been scoring goals like it's chicken change. So that's going to be where the game is won or lost, in my opinion. Now, the biggest clashes between Nigeria and Gabon is definitely going to be attack and defense. Now, Nigeria has Benjamin Frederick, the right back, who is going to be playing against Boana. I think that will be the biggest clash. I think it's going to be fascinating to see exactly what happens on that right side of the game. It could be won and lost up there, because I think Boana will be one of the biggest outlets for Gabon. And of course, we have the central pairing of Bassi, Ajayi, and Okong, depending on who we play. But we know Aubameyang will want to play in space. Aubameyang will want to play behind the defense. I think Bassi has the pace to counteract Aubameyang's space. He's still very quick, considering that he is of that age and that age. He is still very, very quick. So they would have to have a good look at what they are doing with Aubameyang. Now let's look at Gabon. Mbeumo has really been good, a good coach who has brought stability for the Gabonese team, qualified them for AFCON. And you have to give him credit, because since after COVID, the Gabonese league has not really picked up 100%. So he doesn't have that pool of players in Gabon he can rely on. So he's reaching out to all these focused on internationals, looking at federations far and wider globally to build a team. So you can see that. And one other thing to that is what he did was he discarded all those senior players and retained only Aubameyang. He retained only Aubameyang with the team. So he has had to deal with some really big challenges, but he has had to bring the team together. So we have to give Thierry Mbeumo much big credits for what he has done with that team. Mbeumo analyzed Victor Osimhen very well on his press conference. I think that was 2 days ago, and it is showing that he has his tactics on what to do with Victor Osimhen very spot on. So it's going to be a really good clash of those two managers. They have a very important player like Alavina, who is going to be out, so that he will be a big miss. So the two teams are, you can see both Gabon and Nigeria are two very aging teams. So this is like a golden generation where they will want to maximize their chance of reaching the World Cup, because if they miss this, half of both teams will not be there for the next team, because you can see the likes of the old guard from Gabon, the likes of Lamina, like Aubameyang. This is their last chance to try to get to the World Cup. Same thing with Nigeria. 2026 is very crucial for these two teams, so they are going to be giving their all to qualify for this World Cup. My prediction for this, I think Nigeria will edge it. The Osimhen effect is the one changer, because they cancel each other out in the midfield. But I think Osimhen will be the difference in that midfield to give Nigeria a victory. So I predict a 2-1 victory for these particular semi-finals. So the second semi-finals, we'll see Cameroon against DR Congo. Cameroon are ranked 54th. DR Congo are ranked 60th. Now, this is quite a clash of a team full of heritage versus a team that is quite functional. I'm talking a lot about the ranking because, of course, we are quite aware that the intercontinental playoffs will really favor those who are highly ranked, depending on who would be qualifying from the CAF section. If you're highly ranked as a CAF representative, you will fall on the seeded pool, or the seeded pool, where you will be able to lead a group and just play one game, which is the semifinals. If you have unseeded, you will need to play a semifinals and then play a final. So it depends on this ranking. So the rankings are quite important. So Cameroon are 54th, DR Congo are 60th, and there is that clash. There's that clash between a heritage team, big pedigree, heavyweight, versus a very functional and a very informed team. Now, they will be playing their game at the Al Barid Stadium in Rabat, which will be a cracking game. For Cameroon, you can say Cameroon has a really good team in terms of profiles, in terms of personnel, but the scandals and the environment that these players are supposed to be playing, first of all, one of the reasons why they have ended up in the playoffs, because they had a good chance to qualify as top of their group, but just confusion, infighting, ego fighting, unnecessary clashes between the federation and the ministry, Samuel Eto'o versus the manager Mark Brace. The structure is a mess, and it's just a shame to imagine that beautiful country with so much talent is letting its guard down when it comes to football, because of course nothing else is quite functional in Cameroon, unfortunately. But I'm not going to go into those details. Footballing wise, there is infighting. We have all sorts of issues between the federation, sorts of issues between the management team. You can imagine, for an example, just an example, you have Mark Brace, who is the head coach. He has his assistant who is not accredited. So his assistant runs the training, but cannot be at the bench, cannot be by the manager to tactically manage the team in game. So he goes to a tournament, because he's not accredited, he's sitting in the stands. Have you ever imagined a thing like that? How dysfunctional can a federation or country be to find themselves in a situation where there is that kind of infighting, egos are clashing? Now, for an example, very recently, Eto'o contacted one of our newest but brightest stars. I think his name is Kofane. He plays for Leverkusen. This guy is a striker. We need a striker. Of course, Boubacar is coming. He has a team. I'll cover him shortly. But this is a young man who has potential. But because Eto'o went and had a conversation with him, took pictures with him, Mark Brace was like, I'm not calling this player. And you think to yourself, how did we get here? How did we get to a point where a country, a nation can jeopardize their chance to play for the World Cup for ego, in-house fighting, pride? It is just shocking. Anyway, Cameroon has a good chance to beat DRC. We have, from the EPL, we have Mbeumo. Mbeumo is in good form. He was player of the month last month. He's scoring goals for United. We have Baleba, who is really tearing it for Brighton. In fact, I would say the partnership, the double pivot of Baleba and Anguissa for the Cameroon national team is the best in Africa. That I would say with chest. That's the best pivot, because Anguissa is just a machine for Napoli. He's one of the best players. In fact, he won Player of the Year for Napoli. So that midfield partnership is the best between Baleba and Anguissa. We have Abubakar Abushushu, who has now finally got a team, because he couldn't play the last game. He couldn't even feature because he didn't have a team till very recently. He has a team now in Azerbaijan, and I think he has played 4 games. He has scored 4 goals. So he's on form. He has kept himself really, really going. So he's scoring goals. So those are the positives for Cameroon. We're going in with a very good. But there's another rumor that Napoli would probably not want to let Anguissa go. There are murmurings of that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. If they're not willing to let him go for the AFCON, that will cause a lot of issues. But I don't know how that dynamic will play in these qualifiers. But yeah, there are certain of those. There's so many little things around the Cameroonian camp which is just unsettling, and it's a shame. It's really a shame that we are in this position where a country like that is being dragged in the mud like that. So we have Abushushu, who is on form. We have Anguissa and Baleba, who are on form. We have Onana, who is really playing well in Turkey. We have Mbeumo, who is really doing well, and these are the people we can rely on. Mbeumo has been Player of the Month, so there is a chance because Cameroon might use its pedigree. So the longer that game will go into those dying minutes, Cameroon will have a greater chance because, of course, they have the experience of handling that kind of pressure. But we will wait and see. For DR Congo, I think they had a very difficult September break when they played Senegal. They had the likes of Wissa, who didn't have a preseason. He was caught up in this transfer saga between Newcastle and Brentford. We had Chancel Mbemba, who had not played for over a year competitive football. So when they played Senegal, you could see they went two goals up, and you were expecting them to kick from there. But I think because of fatigue and all of that, maybe the tactics of the game were also not the best. But you could see the team not being able to sustain. And of course, Senegal is a force to reckon with, and they just came and wiped them off at the second half and won a 3-2. But to lose to Senegal is no. I mean, you cannot really decry that. They are just a force. But yeah, so they're a very functional team. A very functional team with players who are really playing well. The likes of Sadiki for Sunderland. That man is a machine. He covers every blade of grass. He is performing at his highest. Wan-Bissaka for West Ham is playing really well in form. Axel Tuanzebe is regularly playing for Burnley. Arthur Masuaki plays he's in and out the team for Sunderland, but he's having game time. Others they have a young guy. They have this young prospect in Anderlecht. I think his name is Mario Sterioken. He is a phenomenon. I'm sure he's going to be thrown in the deep end, but this guy can score goals, pace, trickery. He is really good. And then we have, of course, Chancel Mbemba, who is just one of the best. So there is I think I can just see this game there's a lot of these teams will cancel each other out, and this is a game that can end up in penalties. But I think DR Congo will just edge it because they are a more functional team, they're a more structured team, they would have had better preparation for this game, and I would predict that DR Congo will win this one. They would either win a very narrow 1-0 victory, or they will win on penalties. Cameroon cannot rely on penalties because the coach that prepares set pieces will not even be at the bench. He will be on the stands. So you cannot even rely on somebody at the stands. If, for example, there are penalties, he won't be even able to have access to the team. So it's just a shambles. So I predict, unfortunately, sadly, but justly and unfairly, that DR Congo will edge this one in a narrow victory. It's going to be a tight one, but I give a 1-0 victory or a 2-1 victory. And so we have a final. Which will be Nigeria against the DRC Congo. I will do a review after the semifinals before the finals on the 16th. I'll do a preview of who gets to the final. But I am predicting now that the finals will be between Nigeria and DR Congo. I can't even speak. Yeah. So look forward to a review of the semifinals, and of course we'll do a preview of the finals. That's what I had for you. Hope you enjoyed this, and if you did enjoy this, please do not forget to click the like button, share this video. Let me hear your thoughts. Tell me what your thoughts are. If you are Cameroonian, if you are DRC Congo, if you're from Nigeria, I want to hear your impression about all the issues. You see, big nations like Cameroon, like Nigeria, are structurally broken. But you see, small countries like Gabon, in size and in pedigree and heritage, countries like Gabon have a structure in place. They are managing DR Congo has a structure in place. So you ask yourself, what is happening to the heavyweights of Africa? What is happening to the Cameroons and the Nigerias of yesteryears who used to be top dogs? What is going on? Anyway, that's all we had for this preview. Hope you enjoyed this. I hope to talk to you shortly. I hope you have a beautiful day, a beautiful night, wherever you are. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Asante. Au revoir. Bye.